Students, a very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to begin a new poem, A Grammarian's Funeral by Robert Browning. Students, this is a very famous dramatic monologue written by Robert Browning that was published in the year 1855 in a volume entitled Man and Woman. Though Robert Browning doesn't mention the name of a particular person, but critics are of the view that in this dramatic monologue, Robert Browning celebrates the achievements of Jacobus Meliclius, a famous German scholar of 15th century. Students, as we all know, every person is a product of his or her age, of the environment in which he or she lives. Such is the grammarian that Robert Browning mentions. This grammarian, with all his knowledge and specialization, he was a product of revival of learning which took place in 15th century in Europe. In history and literature, this time period is called Renaissance. When the poem begins, we come to know that the grammarian, he is dead, and his students are taking him for his burial. So students, let us come to the textual analysis of this poem. Students, I have already shared the text of this poem with you, and when you look at your screen, the text is also over there. So let us come to the text. A grammarian's funeral. Let us begin and carry up this corpse, singing together. Leave we the common crofts, the vulgar tropes, each in its tether. Let us begin and carry up this corpse. This corpse, whose corpse? The dead body of their teacher, the grammarian. Singing together, leave we the common crofts. What is meant by crofts? Crofts means the nearby fields. And vulgar here means common, ordinary. Tropes means villages, hamlets nearby that were situated near that place. So, the grammarian, a great scholar who melted like a candle in the pursuit of knowledge, is dead, and his disciples are carrying his body up a tall mountain on the peak of which he is to be buried. One of the disciples sings the morning song in which he gives an account of the dead grammarian's life and his achievements. So he says that they will carry his body up to the mountains, and as the funeral procession proceeds, they would sing together a funeral song. Leave we the common crofts, the vulgar tropes, each in its tether. They will leave behind the common fields and villages where the people live tied to their respective duties. What do these people do? These common people, they sleep safely in their villages situated on the plains secure from all worries and cares till the morning. Sleeping safe on the bosom of the plain, cared for till cock crows. Look out if yonder be not day again, rimming the rock row. So, the leader of the group, who is addressing his fellow mates, he says, the common people who are living in the nearby hamlets and villages, they are sleeping. They live a very ordinary life. And he says that while it is still dark on the plains, the light of the rising sun strikes the edges of the mountain peak. That's the appropriate country. There men's thought, rare, intenser, self-gathered for an outbreak as it ought. Chefs in the censer. Leave we the unlettered plain, its herd and crop. Seek we shelter on a tall mountain, city to the top, crowded with culture. The disciple, the leader of the group, says that the top of the hill is the most fitting place to put the grammarian to rest, as he was a man of lofty and sublime thoughts. And he also inspired his disciples with rare, lofty ideals. The hilltop is the most proper place to bury such a great human being. At hilltops, what happens according to the disciple? There, the thought of a man becomes, the thoughts of a man become purer and intenser. It is well concentrated there. As such, it can burst into a flame there. The thought becomes, it soars high. And chefs means irritates. And censer here means vessel in which incense is burnt. So, the disciple says that the mountain peak is the most befitting place for the burial of their teacher. The mountain peak, which is the first to receive the light of the rising sun, is the fittest place for the burial of the dead grammarian. It is a home to the first rays of the sun. It is the home of light, symbolic of learning, while the plain below is the home of darkness, symbolic of ignorance. So he said, therefore, they leave the plains and the ignorant people and their herds of cattle and their crops behind. They will go up, bury their dead master on the peak of that tall mountain, the sides of which are covered with the cities right up to the top. And these cities are the abode of learning and culture, as plains below are those of ignorance. All the peaks soar, and on the rest excels, clouds overcome it. No, yonder sparkle is the citadels circling its summit. Thither our path lies, Wind up, wind we up the heights. Wait ye the warning. Our low life was the levels and the nights. He is for the morning. So, the disciple, the leader, he has his other companions with him and he is talking to them. And he tells them, all the peaks soar, but on the rest excels, clouds overcome it. He says, there are a number of peaks and all of them rise high, but one of them is higher than the others. Clouds overcome it means it has a circle, it is encircled with clouds. There is to be seen a ray of bright light on this peak. No, yonder sparkle is the citadels circling its summit. So he says, he is telling his companions that no, this is not the sunlight right now. This sunlight is coming from the citadel, from the fort that is situated at the top of the hill. It is not the morning light, it comes from the fort standing on that peak. They would bury their master on this peak. They would go there. Thither our path lies. Wind we up the heights. Wait ye the warning. Our low life was the levels and the nights. He is for the morning. So he says, he eulogizes their master, their teacher, the grammarian. And he says that are they waiting any signal from their teacher? They have to go upstairs. As they begin to move, he compares their own lives with that of their master. Their life is the life of the plain and the night, while his life was the life of the mountains. In other words, they passed their lives surrounded by the darkness of ignorance, while his life was passed in the light of knowledge and culture. Next, in the next lines, he is asking his fellow friends what he is telling them. He says, step to a tune, square chests, erect each head, where the beholders. This is our master, famous, calm, and dead, born on our shoulders. Sleep crop and herd, sleep darkling throb and croft, safe from the weather. So he says, he is warning them. He warns other disciples to walk in a dignified manner. Step to a tune, square chest, erect head. He wants their head should be erected. Their chest should be raised high. Where the beholders? He says, be careful about the onlookers. People could watch us. So he wants the other disciples to walk in a dignified manner with their heads raised high, their chests square, for there are onlookers watching their movements. And he says, they must remember that their master, whose body they are carrying, was famous, very cool, composed, calm person, a person of self control. Now he is dead, and their tribute to him must be worthy of his greatness. So, the disciples of the dead scholar climb up the mountain carrying the dead body of their dead master on their shoulders. The plains with their crops, with their cattle, fields, villages are being left behind. These people, they are sleeping comfortably. They are ignorant. They are not well read. They don't have the lofty ideas which their teachers had. In plains below, they are quite safe from storms and snowfalls. So, students, uh, here our today's lecture comes to an end. We will continue with the textual analysis of this poem in our next class. This much for today. Thank you very much.